This is the Moth Kota. So this is the multi-species sculpture that I've made for the reserve. So I've tried to bring humans down into the habitat, into the world of the moth for this kind of brief moment of contact, and then to release them with as little disturbance as possible. As a very temporary meeting of species. So I've just made a space which I've tried to make it as accommodating to the moths as possible. I've built it around their cycles of activity, the things that are important in their sensory worlds. I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I still didn't know how moths would interact with it. So the first day after I had it illuminated all night, when I came down at 6 o'clock in the morning, everything was very still. And as I approached it, I saw a really large peppered moth just on the mesh about this height. And my heart totally skipped a beat because it had worked and there was a lot of moths inside, and that was an amazing moment, because all that planning, yes, it works. It works. It attracts moths, and I've encountered all sorts of moths alongside other insects, spending time inside the Kota.
It's been fantastic to see the public interacting with it. I think that was what was most exciting, because this is so different. And that's the reaction. Everyone's reaction has been so different, but really positive. You know, like the people have gone away really feeling something that maybe they didn't think they would. And you can see that in just the enthusiasm that everybody's had, and you know, the numbers of questions that people have wanted to ask at the events, and people who've maybe come here knowing a little bit about moths but not so much about art, and people who've come here because they are interested because it's an art installation and knew nothing about moths, and they've combined those two things together, and that's just amazing.
Of all the people who've come into the Moth Kota and spent time sitting here, lots of people have said that they feel very sheltered and protected and calm because it's an enclosed space, but also they feel that it's totally open because it's a permeable space, because the weather, the insects, everything comes through this mesh. So they feel like they're connected with this space, that they're spending time with no barrier between them and the woodland, but they're also cocooned inside. So I think that that's something that a conversation I've had with a lot of people over the last few weeks, and it seems to be a shared experience of spending time inside the Moth Kota.
When I came down the trail after it had been built and it was there, and it's just because the scale of it just doesn't translate across in the photos, and it also, there's like it just seems to fit here. Although, you know, it's made of metal and wood, it just seems to fit really nicely into this space. And most people say it's, and I agree with, like, well, I thought it just always would be here, you know, I thought this was going to be permanent, and it feels like it should be.
And things like how a place feels is not you can't anticipate that. I think that there's so much thinking into how an artwork takes shape, all the materials, the form, how the events will work, how it may interact with the site, but you can't anticipate how it feels to sit inside. So I'm trying to drink it in. I'm trying to spend time here just being and trying to remember what it feels like to be inside when I'm at my desk in the winter writing this up and reflecting on it. I want to remember all the details of and all the kind of the sensory experience of being in here. We have found a way to make it happen despite material scarcity, people on furlough, really difficult access to the site, lots of uncertainty about how the public could engage with it and how much interaction people could have, especially planning this many months in advance. So much effort has gone into realising this in the middle of a pandemic. It's been really difficult to make it happen, and it required the input of so many people and the efforts of all the efforts I have, and then so many contributions. So it's I think when I reflect back on it in a year's time or something, I'll be so pleased that we achieved this, that it's here and that it's been so well received. At the moment, it's hard to know how I feel about it. It's complicated. Maybe I'm just tired.